whatsoever. I decided when I was 20 years old, going to this school, I decided I didn't ever want to be one of those accomplished people, trading off tens of millions of dollars and running this all day long. I wanted to be the guy that was out pulling pranks with my friends. Just a normal guy. I wanted to be smiling and laughing the day I die, and I'd have a happier life. So in my case, you know, so I had my happiness regardless. I had my life made. But here we were, and we start Apple, and it becomes a huge success, and I didn't seek that at all. So philanthropy was my way to get rid of it while I was young. Not wait, not try to maximize it. I didn't ever want to have power over others. It was, you know, one of those, I came up in Berkeley, I was in Berkeley in, you know, even the 1970. This is the counterculture days, you know. The whole idea is I didn't want to direct other people and have power over them. I wanted everyone to have the match free. This is just the way I thought. So I was just lucky that I was very skilled at certain things.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, and I forget what the real question was. What do you credit it to? Certainly. I look back and I'm saying that I said in advance, you can make mistakes, attribution errors, but I read, you know, when I was young, I was with a few. This was an orchard. Silicon Valley was a total orchard of as far as you could see to the mountains. And occasionally a neighborhood would go in, and it was a lot of engineers being hired to work at places like Lockheed Martin, developing missiles that needed chips. They needed those companies to find ways to make less weight in the transistors and the thinking devices. And in my little neighborhood, I mean, half the kids were electronic kids because their parents were electronic people, were engineers, and they had mayonnaise jars like we did in the garage, full of switches, full of resistors, full of little electronic parts. So that, you know, so I was in a lucky situation there, and we loved reading these books called Tom Swift Jr. about a young kid who owned his own company, and if there was a disaster on Earth, he'd run into the laboratory and somehow concoct something in his laboratory that would save the world. And that was one hero, and I had a very, very good father. He was a good teacher, a good communicator, and he was an electrical engineer. When I asked questions, how do you make a conjugate out of a transistor? He'd show me how the electrons would flow through transistors and what the formulas were, and how been a huge help to me in my life. And then I had one teacher. We all have a teacher or two, you know, that just totally changed our lives. This guy didn't change my life, but he was an incredible teacher. And when I spent 8 years teaching in the elementary public schools where I live, I followed a lot of his examples of writing my own lessons, not taking them out of a book. And he taught electronics in our high school, and he had a better equipped lab than any local college had for it. He did it with a lot of cleverness, and he was just really incredible. I mean, he thought of what do you need to learn and taught it himself, and didn't say, I'm just going to follow a book and take the easy way.
Wow.
So Mr. McCollum, yeah, John C. McCollum. And Steve Jobs had the same electronics teacher 4 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was good in all my classes. I get the math awards in my school. Steve didn't have the same teachers I had, except for electronics, but it was considered a shop class. You know, a shop class back then.
Thank you so much. So the last question we have is, you know, you're known for co-founding Apple and the technological innovation, but we want to ask you about your philanthropy, your time and resources you give to your community. I know you also do a lot with museums, Los Gatos, education. Can you teach the young people down there, how do we give back where you are? You don't have to be a billionaire, millionaire. What is your philosophy?
It's hard to teach, although college students are still reachable. Your personality kind of comes in, settles down in place between 18 and 23 years old. Sound like college? And from then on, pretty much that's who you are and the sort of person you are. Your philosophies, how you're going to deal with people, how you're going to deal with money, how you're going to deal with issues, how you're going to deal with business, and what kind of person you're going to be, what your favorite things to do in the world are going to be, what your hobbies are. It pretty much doesn't change a lot after a certain point in time. So I can't give advice and say, oh, you adults, you can somehow hear me and get some clue and change your mind. All I do is give stories. Sometimes they inspire people that are young enough. You know, I certainly decided when I was young, I did not want to be, lucky I was smart, so I didn't ever have to worry about a job. But, I had that one so full. But I decided I didn't ever want to be, well, like I said, a super rich person. And I came up with a formula for happiness. H equals S minus F. Back when I was before I came to Berkeley, and for my third year college.